Hello everybody, Happy Canuck Reviews back at you with another video. Today, I have something a little interesting. I have what I was told is a rare United Nations Peacekeeper ration. This is a Western menu number 2. And you can see it comes with quite a bit of food. It's very hefty. I was told it was over 5,000 calories, I believe. But yeah, so you can see there with breakfast, you get dates, cereal bar, natural almonds, and then you get barbecue pork with pasta, biscuits, soup, cake. For lunch, you get chicken with beans and vegetables, biscuits, almond bars for dessert. And then you get all these extra additions. I even see hummus in there. Very curious to see how that's going to work. Alright, let's break into this and see what we've got. And before I break in, I did just want to mention, it is very fresh. It best before August 2026. Made by Joe Mipsa as well. And it looks like it was packed January 2024. So this is only about 6 months old at the time of filming. Anyway, I'm going to break this from the back like I usually do. Wow, it is just crammed in there. So we have a sugar, and you can see it's kind of torn on the side, so very lucky that this didn't break open and go everywhere. Salty biscuits, which feel incredibly intact. In fact, it feels like there's a cardboard sleeve around them, which is really nice. Natural almonds, coffee, another salty biscuits, salt and pepper, another salt and pepper, crunchy muesli with dry fruits, a very tight vacuum sealed pack of dates, chili powder, vegan cranberry shake. That's very interesting. That is a flavor I don't think I've ever seen before. Very high hopes for this. This is probably going to be delicious. I love cranberries. Instant mushroom soup, vegan almond bar, another sugar, paper tissues, partly skimmed milk powder, isotonic pineapple coconut beverage, a little soap pad to scrub your tray, and other utensils, another partly skimmed milk powder, a tea, sweet biscuits, your prepared meals sterilized product, which is actually the chicken with beans and vegetables. And you can see there, this one's actually in date until 2028, where the ration itself is 2026. So these would be good for 2 whole years after the ration expires. Some spearmint chewing gum with sweeteners, a tube of hummus. Very curious to see how this is going to be. I've never seen shelf-stable packaged hummus. That is very interesting. Another sugar. These are not small packs. Like, that is all sugar. 9 grams. Still, wow. It is your little accessory pack, which I'll open up in a moment. Barbecue pork with pasta. Proteo Plus fruit and protein mix. It's a liquid. Yeah, looking at the ingredients on this one, it seems like it's just pureed fruit with a little bit of soy protein added in. Very interesting. I've never seen a drink like this before in a ration. Wonder how it's going to taste. Probably pretty good with all that pureed fruit. A cereal bar, a moist wipe, another tea, a little carrying bag, an orange flavored cake. That was actually packed December 2023. Another moist towelette, sweet biscuit, a sugar, and a hot sauce. And that is everything. That is just a ginormous amount of food. Wow, let's take a look at this accessory pack. You have your instruction sheet on how to set up the Espit stove. You get 9 of these little solid fuel tablets. Looks like some windproof, waterproof matches. Water purification tablets, the striker, and the actual stove itself. Probably won't be using this. I live in an apartment building and will probably set the fire alarm off if I set this up. So I am just going to boil those in a bag, but that's okay. Heats it up the same at the end of the day. All right. Well, I'm going to get this all sorted out, and I'll be back with breakfast. All right, and we're back with breakfast. Now, before we get started, I just want to mention I did misspeak when I was talking about that Espit stove. They don't come with 9 fuel tablets. They come with 6 fuel tablets. Apologies about that. I don't know what happened. Also, I was reading over this packaging a little closer. I said 5,000 calories. It actually states here it's about 4,000. So apologies for that as well. Anyway, let's get into this. So to start, I'm going to mix up this muesli. I am going to mix in some of this milk with it. I'm going to do it hot, just the way I prefer it. Looks pretty good. Honestly, I guess you don't have to prepare it. You could just eat it like this if you really wanted to. But it's quite good. I do find if I eat it like this, my jaw tends to hurt from the oats. That's just me. I have a bit of a problem with my jaw, unfortunately. I'm going to add in some of the milk as well. I'm not going to add any sugar to that. After tasting that, it tastes like it already has a fair amount of like honey to it. I'm going to use some of this for the coffee as well. And since this doesn't come with a utensil, I am just using a good old Canadian spork. Add a little bit too much water, but that's alright. Just be a bit soupy. It'll absorb some of that as well. I like my muesli typically a bit dry. Same with my oatmeals, but I like it like this too, just not my preferred way. I learned my lesson after last time. Don't use that other... Don't use the other mug that I have. And since we have the hot water on the go, just going to mix up the coffee. You only get the one coffee in here. That's okay. Most people like tea. So you get quite a few drinks with this. You get the 2 teas, coffee, protein powder, all sorts of things. This one's quite fine. I'm just going to pull that out of there. More of a powder than a crystal. We'll see how this is. There's a few chunks in there. Not many, though. It's been pretty ground up. I'm going to open up the sugar. Not going to be adding this whole 9-gram pack of sugar to that small little cup of coffee. All right, and a little bit of the milk powder. All right. And for the almonds, I don't think there's anything additional here. Yeah, it's just natural almonds. My assumption is there's not even any salt on these. They'll probably be pretty good still, but if you aren't a fan of almonds, you won't like this very much. Yeah, just normal almonds, not salted, roasted, or anything. Yeah, pretty good. It's, again, it's just a natural almond. Can't really go wrong with that unless you don't like them. I am going to give that coffee a little taste after eating those almonds, though. Turned out pretty good. Let's give it a try. Yeah, the coffee is pretty good. Perfectly acceptable. Not my favorite coffee I've ever had, especially when it comes to instant. Still waiting for something to overtake that Bill's Brew. But it's not acidic at all. It's not bitter. I could have added a little bit more sugar if I really wanted to, but I don't want it to be too sweet. There's just not a lot going on with it. There's a little bit of a chocolatiness to it, and that's about it. But yeah, perfectly acceptable. Not bad at all. Let's take a look at this cereal bar. It's hard as a brick. Jeez, is it ever stuck in there? Trying to save the packaging so I don't want to rip it, but I may have to here. One moment. Now that looks delicious. Look at all of the grains and the nuts in there. And oh, it's so wow. This looks really good. Does not smell like a whole lot. Just kind of like a sweet oat smell, and that's about it. Not a lot going on with the taste either. Again, not bad. It's sweet, very oaty. And you get a little bit of a taste of raisin to it because of the dried fruit. It's pretty good. Very nice in the mornings. Great to dunk in there, which is probably what I'm going to do. All right, now for these sweet biscuits. I went for the sweet over the salty. Just thought they would go better with the dates. Oh, wow. Yeah, like what I was saying earlier, it does come wrapped up in a little cardboard sleeve. Those are immaculate. Not even a chipped corner on them. Oh, that one's a bit cracked down the center, but you know what? It's still held up. Wow. These got to be some of the best crackers that I've ever seen in a ration when it comes to holding up and not breaking apart. All right. Last but not least, these dates. There we go. Got a nice big sticky clump of dates that you gotta squeeze out of here. Smells delicious. I love the smell of dates. All right, let's take a look at these. They look very high quality. Still got the stem on there. Very good. I love dates. That was very good. It's nice and fresh tasting. It's sweet. Kind of tastes a bit like brown sugar. Very, very good. Totally forgot about the pit in dates. Guess I didn't really need these. Don't know what I was thinking. It's been a very, very long time since I've had like whole dates like this. So I guess we'll just try one by itself. You know, they say sweet. Not a whole lot. Kind of tastes like one of those specialty cookies. Or a baby cookie, essentially. They're quite good. Great for dunking. Now that brightens those up. Adds the nice little coffee flavor to it. Those are good. All right, now let's take a look at this muesli. It did rehydrate pretty good. Again, it's crunchy muesli. I assume that you're intended to eat that, just on the go as a little snack. But like I said, I have a jaw problem. Kind of prefer this stuff to be a bit softer. Wish I could do that with that, but so be it. Let's take a bite with everything on there. And that's wonderful. It's nice and fresh. It's a great way to start the day. I'm very glad that I added the milk to it and didn't just eat it dry. Even with the jaw problem, it is just the perfect way to start the day. Very, very healthy breakfast. You got your natural almonds, the dates, the muesli with dried fruit. It's a wonderful way to start the day. It's nice and healthy. It gives you a nice burst of energy that you need. I did cut a couple up. Could eat it on here if you really wanted to. Not necessary at all. And yeah, it really does add a nice bit of sweetness to these crackers and a nice texture change. Also, doesn't make them nearly as thirst-provoking as I was expecting. These are quite good. I can't imagine many people are going to sit down and cut these all in half just to put on top of a cracker, but you never know. All right, I'm going to try this dunked in the coffee, and then I'm going to head out. My neighbor decided to start cutting a tree down, so don't think you guys want to listen to a chainsaw. That does not go with that nearly as well as I was expecting it to be. It's the coating on it. Basically, is repelling the coffee. It doesn't absorb anything. I was kind of thinking the heat might melt it, but it didn't really, which was a bit surprising. Anyway, I'll be back in a bit with lunch. I'll see you then. All right, and we're back. So, for lunch, I went with what was suggested on the ration itself, which was the barbecue pork with pasta, the orange flavor cake, the instant mushroom soup, this Proteo Plus, salty biscuits, and the isotonic beverage. Now, I did bring a big cup, thinking this was 500 mils, but it's actually for 250 mils. So I'm going to get started by mixing up all of these drinks, or liquids, I guess. And the best thing about this soup is you could make it as thick or as thin as you want. You could have it this thick, which is basically mushroom stew, I would say. But I'm going to make mine just a little bit thinner. And for this Proteo Plus, quite an interesting mix of ingredients. There's a lot of fruit purees in there. I'm very excited to try this out. It kind of just smells like one of those fruit leather bars. Let's try out this little bit from the package. I have to say, that is one of the worst textures I think I've ever had. It's like sand. Very fine sand, but it is so gritty. Very natural, I suppose. The flavor's pretty good, but the texture is just so distracting. It's like you have a mouthful of sand. Not a fan. All right, let's open up this orange-flavored cake. It smells like a very nice, natural orange zest. The salty biscuits. When they said salty, I was kind of expecting there to be salt on the top. Texture is about the same as the sweet biscuits. Just gonna try a little one. It does not taste much of anything. It's I can just taste a bit of the wheat. That's about it. They say salty, but it's really not salty at all. Just a very neutral base. And last but not least, the barbecue pork with pasta. Wow, this is quite the hearty portion. Just going to try out some of this pasta by itself and see if it's too mushy. Smells really good. It certainly does smell like a bit like a nice savory barbecue sauce, tomato. That is very good. It's sweet from the barbecue. Got the nice bit of a smokiness to it. You can taste the tomato, onion. Very, very good. Let's try out the pork. Yeah, that's a very nice lean cut of pork. Not a lot of fat to it. It's still nice and tender. It's moist. It's not dried out at all. Goes perfectly with the barbecue sauce. This is a very, very well done main. Let's put some on the crackers. They are probably going to be just the perfect base for this. Those two go together perfectly. Not that the pasta is mushy or anything, but it does give it a nice satisfying crunch. And it doesn't add anything to the taste as well, where there's no flavor to the biscuit at all. And let's try out that pineapple coconut drink. It's a lot heavier on the pineapple, which is A-okay with me. I'm not a big coconut fan. It's nice and fresh. It's not too sweet. No sweeteners to it, just sugar, which is nice. All right, let's give this soup a try. Wow, it thickened up even more from when I had left it. It only called for 250 mils, but you could realistically, you could make this stretch probably to at least 1 liter of water if you really, really wanted to. Be a little bit thin, but I feel like it would still hold up beautifully with how thick this got. I probably put about 350 mils in here when it called for the 250, and it's this thick. That's pretty good. It's a nice hearty mushroom soup. It reconstituted perfectly. It's a little bit bland in the sense of it doesn't taste like much more than just cream, salt, and mushrooms. You could easily remedy that by adding some of this hot sauce, adding in some of the pepper or the chili powder. They certainly don't skimp on the seasonings for this, which is lovely. I am going to open this up, put some on there, put a little in there, just to see what it's like. And let's just take a look at that. Kind of looks like ketchup. It's got that texture to it. It's very thick. Well, it does have the texture of ketchup. It's also a bit sweet like ketchup. But oh my, is it ever hot. Like, I was kind of expecting this to be a bit bland, not super hot, not super spicy. Took me by surprise. I was not expecting how hot that was. Very good. I'm only going to add a little bit to this. It does already have like a very, very mild kick to it. This is just going to amp it up. And I am going to add a bit of this to the mushroom soup as well. All right, let's try some of this new soup. Yeah, that really kicks that soup up a notch. It's really good. I will say too, you do hit some nice big chunks of mushrooms in there if you're a mushroom fan. I am not the biggest fan, but if you like them, they're in there and they're pretty good. They're nice sized. Try some of that pork pasta and hot sauce. Oh yeah, that complements it perfectly. The sweetish hot sauce with the sweet barbecue sauce, the smokiness, it just blends perfectly. It's like it was just intended for that, which is it probably was. However, it does not give you instructions for the condiments. Up to your own free will. I'll say, visually, this has like the texture of applesauce. It certainly does not have the same mouthfeel as applesauce. For a big scoop of it, yeah, you can really see where it does look a bit grainy. You know, honestly, it does have a good taste, so it kind of grows on you. However, if you can't get over the texture, you probably won't like it. Alright, and last but not least, let's give this a try. Smells delicious. Love that it comes wrapped up in its own little paper. You don't have to worry about it getting all stuck to the inside of the foil. And yeah, it just tastes like a nice, sweet, fresh orange zest. That's exactly what it tastes like too. It's a little bit sweet, it's not too sweet. It's really well put together. It's nice and fresh and natural tasting. Very strange coming out of a ration, I guess. I'm going to try it in here. Oh yeah, if you can't do the texture of that, definitely dunk this in it. This cake complements it perfectly. Where that's fruits as well, mixed with a citrusy orange. It does go together really, really good. It's kind of like an icing. Alright, well, I'm going to finish that all up off of camera, but I will open up this little moist wipe just to see what it's like. Decent size. Pretty decent strength, too. I had to poke that hole in there. It smells like a very nice, fresh laundry detergent smell. Very, very nice moist towelette. Very nice. All right, everybody. Well, I'll be back at you soon with supper. I'll see you then. All right, and we're back with supper. So for supper, I again went with what was suggested. I have the vegan protein shake, the leftover biscuits, the hummus, the fig and almond bar, and then I also have the main heating up right now. All right, so to get started, I'm going to mix this up. I don't have my usual cup where this is a bit of a protein drink. I'm not sure how I was going to mix. Figured a spork's not going to cut it, so I'm just going to do an actual protein shaker. It smells very sweet. It smells good. A little artificial. That's not too bad. And I'm just going to try the little bit that's left over. But that's all right. It's a little artificial tasting. Kind of gives the taste of aspartame really bad. Which isn't terrible if you don't mind the taste. I personally can't stand it. But it's all right. Not the worst drink I've ever had. I was just reading over the ingredients, and it does not specify aspartame. There is sucralose in here, though. Quite a long list of ingredients in here. But yeah, I was also expecting it to be a bit thicker than it actually is. It's quite thin. But that's not too bad. Alright, let's take a look at this vegan almond bar. Interesting. It's got like rice paper coating, so it's not sticky at all. If you touch here, though, it is. Kind of looks like the filling of a fig Newton. The rice paper is an amazing addition. You don't get your fingers all sticky. It tastes really good, too. It's nice and sweet and natural. Got a bit of crunch from the almond. This is really good. A nice natural sugar boost when you need it. And I'll say, most of these little snacks and sides are probably intended to be eaten on the go as additional snacks and not quite all together like I am doing. But for the purpose of a video, I don't want to have a billion different little segments. So I'm just going to eat them all together on the different meals throughout the day. All right. And this hummus, which is curious. I've never seen a packaged hummus like this before. I'm going to make an assumption that you are supposed to need this. And again, no tear notch on this. Well, that came out mostly clean. It came out with kind of a sheet. I guess the kneading didn't really do a whole lot. Give it a little mix. And I did bring this little pack of chili powder specifically for that. Just might add a little extra taste to it. I do like hummus, mostly. Not sure how I'm going to feel about this one, though. And I will just show what this looks like. As I've said before, not a tea fan. Yeah, it's just a unbranded black tea. All right, and last but not least, we have the chicken with beans and vegetables. Ooh, it's pretty creamy looking. Wow, I see peas in there, carrots. At least I assume those are carrots. They're kind of round. Tomatoes then, probably, actually. Macaroni. Chunks of chicken. Big chunks of chicken at that. Honestly, probably should have put that in the little cup I had. Thought this would be a big enough tray. Anyway, so we got some chicken in there, a bit of the noodle. It's pretty good. Not a lot of taste to it. It's not very salty. It's nice and fresh and natural tasting, though. Certainly does not taste ultra processed. I'm gonna get one of these little round things that I believe is a tomato, but we're gonna find out here. Yeah, that's definitely a tomato. It definitely needs a bit of salt and pepper. I think I'm gonna add both of these to it. All right, give that a little mix. Try not to make a mess like I've already done with this. And there's white beans in there as well. Bulk it out with the extra protein. It's very good now. That salt and pepper really kicked it up a notch. It's nice and creamy. It's a little salty, very savory. You get the nice texture differences with the pasta, the noodle, with the pasta, the beans, the other vegetables, the chicken. Very good. I am glad I saved some of the crackers, though, just so I have something to soak up all the cream sauce. I'm going to try it off first with half of a sweet one, just to see how it works out. Crackers do a great job of absorbing it. Very handy to mop up the leftovers. That sweet one did work pretty good with it. The sweet kind of got lost and just kind of tasted like it elevated the other flavors in the dish. Try an actual mouthful of this. Yeah, it does just taste mostly of artificial sweeteners. Overall, the cranberry taste is pretty good. I was expecting it to be red, not really purple, but the ingredient says it uses black carrots as the coloring. So that's pretty neat. Tastes pretty good too. All right. Let's try a little bit of this hummus. Yeah, not the best hummus I've ever had. Not the worst. It tastes old. It just certainly does not taste fresh. It's a bit grainier than what I'm used to. But overall, like, the fact that that can be in a ration is pretty good. I am going to add a little chili powder to it, though. Honestly, too, this would also be good on either of the mains. Let's try that with a salty biscuit this time. And yeah, the chili powder does kick it up a little bit of a notch. It gives it that little bit of a spice, but it's certainly not overwhelming. It's just a little bit of chili powder. I want to point one thing out I noticed as well. There is no pasta in this like I thought there was. It's just some of the very small white beans are so overcooked, it takes on the texture of overcooked pasta. I was a little surprised by that. I've never quite had a bean so overcooked before. Usually they have a little bit of a bite still to them, a little bit of texture, but these have turned straight to mush. It doesn't even taste like there's much of like a skin on it. There's no bite at all when you bite down. It's just pure mush. Very overcooked beans. And that is a carrot. Once you cut it in half there's no seeds in it to make it a tomato. So it is just balls of carrot. All right, well, I'm going to finish the rest of this up off camera. But before I head out, just going to take a look at this gum, take a look at these tissues. So you get 10 of them, it says on the package. They're fairly large. 2 plies. Fairly strong. Strong as a cheap paper towel. But yeah, pretty good. Serves a purpose. Probably better for TP than anything else, but good to wash up your cutlery and everything. And last but not least, let's take a look at this spearmint gum. So you get 4 pieces, 3 meals a day, so it leaves you with 1 for whenever you'd like. Let's give that a try. Okay, immediately, that is probably the worst gum I've ever had. There's no, like, shell on it. It's not a lot of spearmint taste. It kind of tastes like a slightly sweet piece of rubber. Honestly, the worst gum I've ever had. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you stopping by. Now, this was, again, one that you guys voted on through the poll. I hope you guys are enjoying the polls. I will continue them if everybody's liking them. Seems like a lot of people voted on the last one, which is nice. I'll post it right now, a screenshot of the results. So yeah, this ration was very good. I would probably rate it a 4.5 out of 5. The gum takes a little bit away. This was a little bit bland, but whatever. It's nice and natural. This was very unique. Lots of unique components here. The hummus. Thought that fig and almond bar was pretty unique. I don't see those around very much. Love the variety of components like chili powder. There was the hot sauce. 2 things of salt and pepper. All the sugar. Multiple drinks. A protein drink. Like a very well thought out ration. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. And I hope you stop by again. Have a great week. Bye.